Why would someone try to erase a felony conviction simply because they were elected president? This unprecedented legal maneuver is at the heart of Donald Trump's latest attempt to avoid the consequences of his criminal convictions. With 34 felony counts hanging over his head, ranging from falsifying business records to potential campaign finance violations, Trump's legal team has filed a motion seeking to dismiss his conviction on the grounds that he is now the president-elect. In their view, his return to the White House should serve as a magical eraser for his past criminal liability. This provocative legal argument has sparked a fierce counteroffensive from the Manhattan District Attorney, DA, Alvin Bragg, whose team filed an 86-page response dismantling Trump's claims. The Manhattan DA's argument doesn't just preserve the integrity of their hard-earned conviction, it also holds Trump accountable for his documented pattern of abusing the justice system through threats, intimidation, and inflammatory rhetoric. This legal drama is more than just a courtroom showdown. It's a test of the rule of law in a nation that holds even its highest office holders accountable. Let's break down what's happening, why it matters, and what's next in this historic case. The context of the case. Donald Trump's legal woes stem from his indictment and subsequent conviction on 34 felony counts earlier this year. The charges are rooted in allegations that Trump falsified business records to conceal hush money payments and other financial irregularities during the 2016 presidential campaign. These payments were allegedly made to silence individuals whose revelations could have jeopardized Trump's bid for the presidency. The conviction represents the culmination of a rigorous investigation and trial process. A jury of 12 worked meticulously to deliberate on the evidence presented, leading to a unanimous decision to convict. However, Trump's lawyers now argue that his election to the presidency nullifies that conviction, a claim rooted in a dubious interpretation of presidential immunity. Their legal filing rests on the premise that Trump's new term as president-elect grants him temporary immunity under Article 2 of the Constitution. In essence, they contend that because he is poised to assume the nation's highest office, any legal proceedings against him must be paused, and his conviction set aside for the sake of justice. The Manhattan DA's counterargument. In response, the Manhattan DA filed a meticulously detailed brief that systematically refutes each of Trump's claims. Their central argument is clear. There is no constitutional or legal basis for president-elect immunity. The DA's filing highlights several key points. Presidential immunity does not apply to presidents-elect. The protections offered to sitting presidents under the Office of Legal Counsel guidelines are narrowly defined and do not extend to individuals who are merely preparing to assume office. Moreover, these protections are procedural, not retroactive. The conviction stands regardless of office. Trump's conviction was the result of a lawful trial process that adhered to all constitutional safeguards. The DA argues that dismissing the conviction based on Trump's electoral victory would undermine the credibility of the justice system, accountability, and public confidence. Allowing Trump to evade sentencing would erode public trust in the legal process and set a dangerous precedent for future leaders. The DA's office emphasizes that justice must be seen as impartial, even when applied to high-profile individuals. Trump's history of abuse. The DA's filing does not shy away from documenting Trump's inflammatory rhetoric and conduct. On page 48 of the brief, prosecutors recount how Trump repeatedly attacked court staff, prosecutors, and even grand jurors. For example, during the grand jury proceedings, Trump posted an image of himself brandishing a baseball bat alongside an image of DA Alvin Bragg. Trump referred to Bragg as an animal and a degenerate psychopath, while threatening death and destruction if he were indicted. This incendiary language, according to the DA's office, led to a surge of credible threats against prosecutors, court staff, and their families. The filing continues by detailing Trump's repeated violations of gag orders imposed by the court. Despite explicit instructions to refrain from extrajudicial speech, Trump continually made public statements that cast doubt on the fairness of the trial and the integrity of the court. The DA's office argues that this behavior was not only willful but also designed to intimidate and obstruct the legal process. Legal options for sentencing. With Trump's motion to dismiss under consideration, the judge, Juan Merchan, is left with several options. Immediate sentencing. The judge could reject Trump's motion and impose a sentence before his inauguration. However, this would likely trigger an appeals process that could delay the implementation of any punishment until after Trump's presidency. Deferred sentencing. Judge Merchan could uphold the conviction but delay sentencing until Trump's term concludes. This approach would preserve the integrity of the conviction while sidestepping questions of presidential immunity. Suspended sentence. The judge could sentence Trump but suspend the execution of the sentence until he leaves office. This option balances the need for accountability with the practical realities of Trump's presidency. The Manhattan DA's filing emphasizes that delaying sentencing would not undermine the rule of law. They cite precedents for abating sentences in cases where defendants die before sentencing or are otherwise temporarily unavailable to serve their punishment. These legal doctrines, they argue, provide a clear path forward without dismissing the conviction. The broader implications. This case is not just about Trump. It's about the principle that no one is above the law. If Trump's arguments were to succeed, it would set a dangerous precedent whereby any elected official could evade accountability simply by winning an election. The Manhattan DA's forceful rebuttal underscores the importance of maintaining public trust in the justice system, even when dealing with high-profile defendants. The public interest in accountability. Beyond the legal technicalities, this case touches on larger societal issues. Accountability for leaders, particularly those in positions of immense power, is a cornerstone of democracy. The Manhattan DA's insistence on pursuing this case sends a message that the judicial process cannot be swayed by political considerations or public relations campaigns. The courts, as arbiters of justice, must demonstrate their resilience in upholding the rule of law against unprecedented challenges. Trump's legal team's arguments, if successful, could open the floodgates for other elected officials to similarly evade legal consequences, jeopardizing the integrity of the justice system. Trump's strategy moving forward. As Trump's legal team prepares to counter the Manhattan DA's filing, they face a daunting uphill battle. Public opinion, already polarized, will undoubtedly play a role in shaping the broader narrative of this case. Trump's pattern of using legal battles as a rallying cry for his supporters could further complicate the judicial process. Yet, the strength of the evidence and the meticulous preparation of the DA's case provide a robust foundation to counter these tactics. Donald Trump's latest legal gambit is a high-stakes test of the American judicial system. By attempting to overturn his conviction on the basis of his election to the presidency, Trump is challenging not just the Manhattan DA's office, but the very idea that accountability applies to everyone equally. The Manhattan DA's 86-page brief is a masterclass in legal argumentation, laying bare Trump's history of misconduct and the implausibility of his claims. As Judge Juan Merchan prepares to rule, the nation watches closely. Will the court uphold the conviction and ensure that justice is served? Or will Trump's arguments lead to an erosion of public confidence in the rule of law? What's clear is that this case will have ramifications far beyond the courtroom. It will shape how future presidents and high-profile defendants are treated under the law, and it will test whether the principle of accountability can withstand the pressures of political power. For now, the message from the Manhattan DA is clear. No one, not even a president-elect, is above the law.